Very much, members of the Fourth Estate. We appreciate your commitment to the affairs of your nation, in particular as concerns the affairs of the ruling party, Zanu PF. We have just had our Politburo meeting today, where our president made some important announcements. You are aware that a couple of days ago there was a promulgation of the elections. They will be held, the dates have been set out by the President of the Republic. In March, there will be the by-elections. We have had a slew of by-elections pending, mostly in urban areas. Some of them have just been due to the natural wastage, the natural deaths and other inabilities among the various elected officials. But the gamut has been from the gratuitous and internecine infighting within the MDC opposition. They have been at each other's throats, again, as usual. We are used to that. And they've been expelling each other left, right, center in Parliament. And out of those expulsions, according to the Constitution, each expulsion triggers an election. We couldn't hold the elections on an ad hoc basis because of COVID, where the situation was very dire. Everybody knows what happened in 2020, 2021. And we had World Health Organization strictures. We also had lockdowns, which which were applying under our Ministry of Health in line with World Health Organization. And because of our preoccupation with the fight against COVID, it interfered with the smooth functioning of our democratic processes. Unfortunately, people who always want to find fault in Zanu PF started accusing us of procrastinating on those elections, which was not true. We have fought a very successful fight against COVID-19. We are not yet over the hill, and it will be part of my brief report later on. But what is of interest, because of the democratic ethos of Zanu PF, because of our tradition of democratic practice, and because of our birth as a democracy-loving party, our president, at the earliest possible opportunity of an easing of the pandemic in terms of its ravages on the Zimbabwean population, promptly announced the by-elections. So he has laid the ghost of those who were saying that Zanu PF is afraid of the elections. And in line with that, within the party, we have not had a restful festive season. We have been busy. This man to my right, who is our political commissar in charge of the affairs of the party, he didn't have a Christmas, he didn't have a New Year, and our party-loving members also did not have a Christmas, they did not have a New Year. They were avidly following the electoral processes within Zanu PF so that we select the most suitable candidates for the coming elections. And the first step was to establish our provincial structures and other structures, which then today have been converted to become elections directorate, because they finished their party of internal elections. Now they are National Elections Directorate. And I am announcing the head of our National Elections Directorate, our National Political Commissar. He is now focused on the role of organizing the voters, corralling the supporters of the party, putting the structures in place, canvassing voters to support our candidates who are now going to be chosen in the primary elections according to the program which he is going to announce. So this is the main task which we had today, focusing on the elections. Another announcement coming from the same process of the elections is that we now have, according to ZEC requirements, we now have a National Elections Returning Officer. he is from the party. Comrade Ziyambi is from the government, but he will be the chief returning officer of our party, liaising with ZEC in order to make sure that we comply with the regulations of ZEC in terms of the constitution, in terms of the electoral law. So I'll give both of them a chance to say a few words, but before they do come, I just want to highlight one or two issues which the President focused on today. He congratulated the steering work which was been done on the electoral processes. He also called on the new electoral colleges from the provinces to unite the party, the party after the elections. There are no winners, there are no losers in ZANU-PF elections. We are coalescing in order to fight to win the maximum possible elections in the coming plebiscite of the by-elections. And we see it as a dress rehearsal of the elections which are coming in 2023. So we are leaving no stone unturned to make sure that we snatch as many votes as we can and win as many seats, be they at national government level, be they at local government level. We want to show that ZANU-PF is back even in urban areas. We have a particular focus on urban areas, and the programs under the emergence promulgation of the President in terms of the Local Government Act, we cannot be interfering in urban areas. But because of the dire straits of the urban situation, courtesy or discourtesy of 2 years of MDC neglect, everything in urban areas has decayed, it has collapsed. It's a cesspit of human misery. Roads which are now got tracks in the urban cities, sewage which is piling at every corner. We have garbage which has never been collected for ages. We have councillors who say that we cannot run even when we are elected because we are eunuchs, we are majongos, because ZANU-PF is the one which is stopping us from work. Why they even want to be elected when they want going to be stopped from ZANU-PF to work, I don't know. So they've all become eunuchs doing nothing for the urban constituents. And the President was moved to say that we cannot have the rural population of Zimbabwe begin to enjoy the benefits of the Second Republic, the Pfumvudzas of this world, the building of the roads in rural areas, all those things, whilst the urban people are wallowing in neglect and poverty. No jobs, no investment, no nothing. So we have refocused using emergency powers, and we have moved into the urban areas. And there are dramatic announcements which have been made today in terms of the issuing of title deeds to the existing stock of houses in urban areas. We will make sure that wherever possible, somebody will get a title deeds. And we have engaged our technical department, the space agents of this country, under the Ministry of Higher Education. You know we have a space agents. We're working with the Japanese on space administration, so geospatial. So we are now focusing on granting title deeds using the satellite and using the drones, and already 2 suburbs have been complete. One of it is historical, the southern suburb, and the other one in the north. I don't want to take the thunder out of the relevant ministers before they announce, but this is the biggest pleasure, this is the biggest gift which is being given to urban people by the President. He promised it during Christmas and New Year. We are delivering. By the time we get to the elections, they shall be very happy, urban dwellers with title deeds, going to the banks, re-securitizing their homes, converting dead family assets into cash, into liquidity, to renovate their houses, to expand their houses, to build new kitchens, to even build other houses from that. So this is going to be a very, very strong shot in the arm, in the income of urban dwellers who built their houses many years ago, and they've been sitting on them as idle capital. Now it's live capital. The banking sector is absolutely excited, and we are possibly looking at another stock listing of the real estate sector on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, courtesy of the resecuritization of the existing stock of houses all over the country. And this is also going to apply to the new mining areas, which are now opening up further urbanization. You know, urban towns are growing in the mining areas because there's big investment in mining areas. So this is what Zanu PF is doing, making people get takeaways which they put in their pocket beyond the community services which we are providing: roads, running water because of Anam Chabezi, because of Anakunzwi Dam. We are going to have running water again in urban areas. Not wells, not sewage which piles, you know, is collected by trucks or by buckets. No more. That is the MDC way of running urban areas. That's not the ZANU PF, that's not the Second Republic way. So that's where we are right now. And the President made announcement to that effect. So, yes, and we are also looked at what's going on at Mpare-Mpedza-Namu. There's a lot of a nuisance which has been going on there. We got a report from the governor of the resident minister of Harare province. We will not tolerate abuse of public property from whichever quarter. So we have moved in, and the connivance of some of our members with the MDC councillors in abusing public property and charging people for public toilets, which they didn't build, that has to be stopped. That has been stopped. It has been checked. And we are going to have much more of these exercises, which are just there to make sure that urban life is restored. We are determined to make sure that urban areas become exciting and livable places, so that when investors come, they can be impressed that this is a place where they can invest. The way it is, it has not been the case with the MDC. And I repeat, for 20 years, I have never seen Chamisa opening a new factory. I've never seen him side by side with an investor, whether it be from Turkey or from Singapore or from America, for that matter, which he loves. He just doesn't know that an urban area is a place for investments. He only knows that an urban area is a place where you allocate stands illegally, and an urban area is where you wait to subvert the government and go to State House. He doesn't know that an urban area is a place for jobs, for factories, and for young people to have hope. President Mnangagwa is determined to create hope for young people by rebuilding the urban area as a vibrant center where goods and services are produced in urban areas for the local market, for the regional market, and for the global market. That language does not exist in the MDC. They only know sanctions. They all know that we must regime change. They all know that we must derajature. The president is determined, and that's the ticket we are going to be campaigning on in the next elections for urban areas. We will be building upon Pumvudza in rural areas. We'll be building upon road construction in rural areas. We'll be building upon drip irrigation and solar pumps in rural areas. We'll be building upon successful tobacco farmers, blueberry farmers, you know, macadamia farmers. We'll be building upon citrus farmers, all the restoration of vibrant rural life, courtesy of the financial stability which the president has made. Everybody is now happy in rural areas. We want that happiness in rural areas to be also transferred to urban areas. And we are determined, and that's the ticket we are going to be campaigning on. So we are rigging the election by doing good things for the urban areas. And if the MDC loses, so be it. I thank you. Comrade. Well, let me, because I don't want to keep my colleagues waiting. I'll say a few things for the health sector at the conclusion. But Comrade Bima,
okay,
you've done a fantastic work. Now you've got a new task, delivering the seats.
Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade Mtsangwa, and just to welcome you all members of the press. From the commissariat side today, we had two issues before the Politburo. The first one was more to do with the finalization of the provincial elections. If you recall, last time we had a Politburo which approved and endorsed the elections for provincial structures. But that was mainly on the chairman position, chairman of the main wing, of the women's wing, as well as the youth league. And in a province, you have the provincial structure comprising of 120 members. So when the endorsement was made last time, we were talking of only 3 members in the province. We then deployed Politburo members to go and oversee the equitable distribution of the remaining 117 positions. Equitable distribution because in any given province, you do have a number of admin districts. You also have a number of constituencies. And it is the intention of the party to ensure that each constituency and that each admin district is represented. So we had to give that order, that tall order for our Politburo members who did a very good job in making sure that this was done. And today we were now presenting the remaining members of each province to the Politburo. We now have 1,200 members in the country who now represent these various provinces. And I'd like to thank my colleagues in the Politburo for having done this tremendous work and done it very, very efficiently. So the structures now have now been endorsed and approved. So that was one thing that we are happy to have experienced today with the Politburo endorsing and approving these elections. The second issue was to do with our presentation of the roadmap towards primary elections. The presentation was done, and I'm happy again to report that the Politburo has now endorsed this roadmap. Some of the activities had already started right from the 12th of January with a meeting that was held here of the Mobilization Committee, and also followed by the calling of CVs, and also a meeting that took place yesterday with the Mobilization Committee, as well as our provincial chairpersons from the provinces and the commissars from the provinces, and also part of our security departments from the provinces. Now, today the head office has been receiving these CVs, and work has commenced on the vetting of the same. And also now we are at a stage now that this roadmap has been approved. Now we are now putting together the National Command Center here at head office, and the process starts, and also which will culminate in the holding of primary elections, and also making preparations, the requisite preparations to enable those who would have come out as winners in these primary elections to prepare themselves for the nomination court. So that's the roadmap that has been approved by the Politburo, and work starts from now onwards to make sure that it's operationalized and that it's done effectively and as efficiently as possible. I thank you.
When we have heard it from the men who organizes the elections, we are a part of history, we are part of organization. I don't see, whilst the others are fighting, we are putting structures to win elections. So don't be surprised if we win and if the others end up losing. This man has been very busy. We hope equally that it can be done by the other parties rather than fight.
Thank you very much, spokesperson. Thank you very much, members of the media. I just want to first of all, thank His Excellency for the confidence he has reposed in me to be the Chief Returning Officer or the Chief Election Agent. I will be working closely with the Commissar and the Elections Directorate. Basically, my job would be to ensure that I liaise with ZEC and ensure that all the processes, the procedures that are needed between ZEC and our party are followed. I did the same the last election. I was the chief election agent, and I'm very happy that the Politburo and His Excellency, the first secretary of our party, has reposed this confidence in me to continue doing that. And like what the Commissar said, we are geared to go. Work has already started. We're starting now to ensure that we come up with our team of candidates that we'll be working with. And all the things, the good work that the government has been doing, that Comrade Mtrangwa has been telling you, we are going to full out to campaign. Like he said, I don't want to use the word rigged. We are going to win cleanly because we have performed. You know, when you have practiced and you are fit, you don't cheat. You go all out to win. And this is what we are going to do. And I thank the Commissar for the good work that he did over the festive season to ensure that our provinces are reconstituted, and now we are good to go. I thank you very much.
So you can see we are working very hard for a clean election. There are other issues which arose. We had a very comprehensive report from our Minister of Health, who is also the Vice President, about our success in the COVID, in the fight against COVID. There was the extension of the schools closure. We are watching the situation very closely. We are keeping our fingers crossed that we may now be at the tail end of this pandemic, but we are keeping ourselves vigilant. So, you know, a lot of work has been done, you know, to make sure that Zimbabwe is kept safe. And there's a real highlight, which you are already aware of, but which the Politburo took cognizance of, that China has given us an additional 10 million doses of vaccines. Now, everybody can go and be vaccinated beyond herd immunity. We are saying to everybody in Zimbabwe, go and be vaccinated so that we can defeat this pandemic. Our president made the right choice of partner from the original. When the pandemic started, we started with PPEs from China. We started with collaboration with their medical officers who were coming to help us fight this because it started off in China. And now we went into cooperation in the vaccine area, and we have been a continuous beneficiary. This is now 12 million doses, more than 12 million doses from China, given by the People's Republic of China. This is an old relationship between Zanu PF and China, starting back from the 1960s, when our late chairman, Herbert Chitepo, was the director of public prosecutions in Tanzania. He forged the relation, which is still poor China at that particular time. We also got military training. Our president was the second batch of those who went to train in China at that particular time, before China moved to train us in Tanzania. So we are valuing this relationship, and it has always been beneficiary to us now in the health sector, which is vital for, you can't make progress with a dying population. China has been handy. We are also they are big investors. You know what's happening, I told you last week, in Chivu, within steel. We are proceeding, we are expanding that relationship into Mozambique with China. What we were trying to highlight to you is that China has been an all-weather friend. We were not invited to the democratic sort of fiesta of the Americans in Washington somehow because we created democracy which they denied, you know, for racial reasons to us. When they celebrate the democracy because we have a homegrown democracy, they never invited. But well, we may not eat democracy of the Americans, but we definitely can benefit from the medical vaccines of the Chinese and save lives. So one relationship is very material, the other one is abstract. We would rather concentrate on the material one. We are also happy if the Americans can join us, you know, in trying to make sure that our material condition in Zimbabwe goes beyond mere platitudes and lectures about democracy, about human rights, about this and that. You know, the relationship with China is very, very tangible. The Vice President, you know, also talked about the brain drain in the medical sector, which again is being done by the Western countries. They don't train their people. Then a crisis comes. They also have an aging population, but they come to recruit from Zimbabwe. And because we are relatively poorer than them, you know, because we were colonized, we were enslaved, we are not as rich as they are. We train the best people, they come and snatch them. They never want to compensate for us, for those people who take so much to their money to train, but they are now being lured by better salaries because they've been neglectful of their responsibility to train their own personnel. So we're always at the receiving end of these people who always want to teach us about democracy, about human rights, about this. So the Vice President gave us a report. The cabinet is seized with how we can address the issues of the brain drain, not only salaries, but as we know, also the living conditions. We are saying that if we can spend thousands of dollars training people, we surely can rise the occasion of finding remuneration for them to stay at home. But all the same, we are also very happy that our personnel, human resource personnel, is dollar convertible. Zimbabweans are so capable that they work in any environment on earth and earn US dollars. As our economy grows from 78%, which the World Bank is saying 5.3%, we will be going for double-digit growth. We are driving for a situation where there is a seamless conditions of service between the diaspora and at home. Then the diaspora can become returning residents. Then the diaspora and the local Zimbabweans will add 2 and 2, and the result will be 2,000 because they will have the exposure which they learned abroad. So it may be a problem now, but we also think it's an investment. But in the meantime, Cabinet is seized with the matter of the conditions of service for the health sector, but also holistically all the other workers of government, including the defense and security sector. The beauty about it is that our economy is now net growing. We are growing more the economy more than we are spending. We are on a net trajectory of growth. So the capacity of the economy to begin to address the conditions of service, the poverty datum line, and other issues associated with delivering prosperity to our people, they can now be addressed because the president has stabilized the economy, he has domesticated the currency, he has started price discovery through the auction system, many good things which have happened, but also there's a big push of investment, in mining and other areas. So we are on the positive trajectory of growth. We will deliver prosperity to our people, including those in the health sector. By and large, that's what we were faced with today. It was a hard work to prepare for the elections and to prepare for a resounding victory against a fractious, internecine, finger-pointing opposition, which only things going to state power is their purpose of existing as a political entity. We think we are there to govern. I repeat, the GDP of Harare is bigger than that of Malawi. If the MDC had run Harare very well, there will be no brainer as to whether they are a part of excellence or not. Everybody would have voted for them. But because of incompetence, short-sightedness, they've failed for 2 decades. We are moving in, and this man is there, and that man is there to harvest the folly of the MDC. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, colleagues. Just going to open up for questions. Please, if you could just state the media house you're coming from, and then you ask your question. So I'm going to concentrate on 3 questions. Let's go. Any questions? It has been so clear that we're all in a lesson here from Ambassador and NPC and comment Ziambi. So I think if we don't have anything more to ask, I'll then conclude that our press conference comes to an end. Thank you so much for coming.
Some housekeeping. When is the best time for our party? I said I was going to throw you an end of the year party. So you do some informal consultations with them.
Can I suggest
Yes.
now